You are now all financial advisors who are competing for my business. I have $7,500 in savings and I'm looking to invest into a U.S. savings bond for my son's college fund. He will be attending college in 15 years. My goal is to save $20,000 and I'm looking for the financial advisor who can make me the most money. Currently, the annual percentage rate for a U.S. savings bond is 6%. Please advise me on which of the 6 options would give me the greatest return on my investment. Would it be the simple interest formula, the annual compounding formula, the compounded monthly formula, the compounded weekly formula, the compounded daily formula, or the compounded continuously formula? Throughout these videos, we will be discussing each of these options for generating interest on my investment to see which will give me the highest future value on my money. So the first one we are going to look at is the simple interest formula. So I have $7,500 in savings and I'm looking to invest it in a U.S. savings bond for my son's college fund. He will be attending in 15 years. My goal is to save $20,000 and I'm looking for the financial advisor who can make me the most money. Currently the APR is 6%, so we're trying to find the future value on my money after 15 years. So to do that, what we're going to use is the simple interest formula. The F, which is the future value, equals P, the present value, multiplied by the quantity 1 plus the rate multiplied by T. So I define my variables from the given example. The present value, or my principal, is $7,500. The rate in the form of a decimal is a 0.06, that's 6%. And it's for T equals 15 years. So I'm going to input these values into my equation. So I get F, my future value is what I don't know. That's what I'm trying to determine. P is equal to 7,500 multiplied by the quantity 1 plus the rate, the annual percentage rate in the form of a decimal, which is 0.06, multiplied by T, which is 15. Now we have a whole lot of information here. So what it's good to kind of have a little reminder on is our order of operations. Now, order of operations, when you have a whole bunch of different operations, where there's parentheses and exponents and multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction, you do these things in a specific order. And so the order is, wherever there's parentheses, you do parentheses first, followed by exponents. Exponents is the next thing. Then you will do either multiplication and division. You can work from left to right. And then addition and subtraction, and you can work from left to right on that as well. So let's look back at the problem that we were just dealing with. We had F equals 7,500 multiplied by the quantity 1 plus 0.06 multiplied by 15. Well, here the order of operations tells us that we need to do the parentheses first. Now within the parentheses we have addition and multiplication. So we have to follow the order of operations, and we would do the multiplication first because multiplication is listed higher than addition. So we're going to rewrite everything. F equals 7,500 multiplied by the quantity 1 plus, and we're just going to do that one thing, 0.06 times 15. And when you multiply those two together, what you end up with is 0.9. Now the next thing in the order of operation tells us to do the parentheses, and so we're going to do the addition inside the parentheses. So I'm going to rewrite F equals 7,500 and 1.9. 1 plus 0.9 is 1.9. Now this is our initial principal. Now this is interesting because 1 constitutes our whole. This is like a percent increase. Our money is being increased by 0.9 or 90%. So then you just multiply that 1.9 by the principal and you end up with the principal of 7,500. You end up with $14,250. Now this is the future value on my money. If I invest $7,500 at a rate of 6% for 15 years, at the end of 15 years I will be left with $14,250. Now I am trying to save $20,000. So I did not achieve my goal. So what I need to do is I need to figure out under this simple interest formula how much additional money I need to invest in my principal to achieve my goal. So what we're going to be looking at is using the simple interest formula. How much money do I need to invest if my goal is to save $20,000 in 15 years with an APR of 6%? So I'm going to use the simple interest formula again and define my variables. But one thing we need to do is before we go here is we need to just have a little basic algebra review. Okay, so like I said, this is very basic. Now we have to know the goal. If we have something like 4 equals 2p, the goal of this is to figure out what p is. Okay, in order to figure out what p is, we need to get p by itself on in this equation. So the equation, the equal sign separates the equation into two sides. Here's the left side of the equation. Here's the right side of the equation. Right now, p is not by itself. There's 2 by the p. So our goal is to get p by itself. Now, how we do that is using inverse operations. Now, the inverse operation of addition would be subtraction. And the inverse operation of subtraction would be addition. And also the inverse operation of multiplication would be division. And the inverse operation of division would be multiplication. Now we use inverse operations in order to isolate p, in order to get p by itself. So right now this 2 is by p. We need to get rid of the 2. Well, we need to understand how 2 is related to p. 2p is the same thing as 2 multiplied by p. So what we have to do, this is 2 times or multiplied. So we have to do the inverse operation of multiplication, which is division. So we're going to divide this side of the equation by whatever this number is, and this number is a 2. Okay? And since we're dealing with equations, whatever we do to this side of the equation, we have to do that same thing to this side of the equation. So we divided this by 2. That means we need to divide this by 2. So now we simplify. 2 divided by 2 is the same thing as 1, and 1 times p is p. So now we have our goal. We have p by itself. We can now figure out what p is. We just need to simplify 4 divided by 2, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that means that p is equal to 2. Now let's practice this one more time over here on this example. We have 10 equals 5p. Our goal is to get p by itself. Well, to do that, we have to figure out, well, how is 5 related to p? Well, 5p is the same thing as 5 times p, or 5 multiplied by p. So to get p by itself, we have to do the inverse operation of multiplication, which is division. So we're going to divide this by whatever number this is. This number is 5. Okay, whatever we do to this side, we're going to do to this side of the equation as well. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times p is p. We have now isolated p. P is by itself. Now we can figure out what p is. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So now we know what p is. P is equal to 2. So that's just a basic algebra review. We're going to be using those concepts on this next problem. So remember where we are in this particular financial advisor problem is that we just figured out that I don't have enough money. 20,000. I don't have enough 20,000. So I need to figure out, well, what is my principal if I want to achieve $20,000 in 15 years? So I'm trying to figure out what my principal needs to be. 7,500 is not enough. It needs to be more. So let's figure out how much more. So in order to do this, we're going to have the simple interest formula. My future value is $20,000. My p, I'm going to leave that as p because I don't know what that needs to be. I'm trying to figure out what it is. My rate is still 6%, 0.06 in the form of a decimal, and my time is 15 years. So I'm going to input these values in for my variables. So instead of writing f is the same thing as 20,000. So I'm going to write 20,000 equals p, my initial principal. I need to figure that out. So I'm just going to leave it as p. Parenthesis 1 plus the rate 0.06 multiplied by t. T is 15. T is 15, and put it in there. And here we are, an order of operations problem. Order of operations states we have to do parentheses first. We have addition and multiplication within the parentheses, so we have to do the multiplication first. So I'm just going to rewrite everything else. 20,000, I'm not going to touch this, equals P multiplied by the quantity 1 plus. Now I'm doing this, 0.06 times 15, and that ends up being 0.9. Now the next thing I need to do is the parentheses again, but now I need to do the addition piece of this. So I'm going to rewrite this, 20,000 equals P, and 1 plus 0.9 is just 1.9. Now the goal of this whole thing is to figure out what P is. So to figure out what the variable P is, I have to isolate it. I have to get it by itself. Well, right now it's not by itself because 1.9 is by the P. Well, I need to figure out, well, how is 1.9 related to P? Well, when it's P, this is P multiplied by 1.9. So to isolate P, to get P by itself, I need to do the inverse operation of multiplication, which would be division. So I need to divide this by whatever this is, and this is 1.9, so I'm going to divide by 1.9. And I need to, whatever I do to this side of the equation, I need to do to the other side of the equation, so I'm going to divide 20,000 by 1.9 as well. Now what happens, 1.9 divided by 1.9 is equal to 1, and 1 times P is equal to P. So now I have isolated P, and P is by itself. The next thing I need to do is just go 20,000 divided by 1.9, and what that ends up being is $10,526.32. So that's what my initial principal needs to be. If I'm using the simple interest formula and my goal is to save $20,000 in 15 years. Right now I have $7,500, but that's not going to do it. That's not going to be enough. I'm going to actually have to increase that by, it looks about $3,000 in order to achieve my goal. So this is what my present value of money I need to invest is.